Hello, everyone. How is it going? I hope you all can see me and you all can hear me, and I hope everyone just enjoyed the workshop and presentation from Paige. How's everyone doing? If you attended the previous workshop, feel free to maybe in the comments type something that you learned from it or anything interesting. I see we have 404 not found in the chat. How is it going, 404? Nice to see you around again. And yeah, and I guess while y'all are typing away in the comments, I'll go ahead and talk about what we're going to be going over today. So you have probably seen this workshop a few times at other Global Hack Weeks, but at this one, we're holding it again, and it's going to be the Git Good with Git workshop. So if you're ready to get good and learn all about Git, then this is the workshop for you. We'll be specifically covering a lot about merge conflicts, rebasing, all those fun things that are kind of complicated, but in the end, are not too bad to learn. So yeah, I see we have Mushin G Moses saying, hello guys, and welcome to the Git Good with Git workshop. Hello, and nice to see you as well. All right, I'll go ahead and add my screen over here. And should be right there. Awesome. And you know what, oh, I see some chat messages. Sandrini says, my mind was blown from the last presentation with VO3. VO3 is amazing. The things you can do with Google Gemini are truly insane and unlimited. There's so many things you can do with it, and what the team brings is really, really cool. I see Green Yoshi again saying hello and good afternoon, everyone. And 404 saying hello to Green Yoshi. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and add myself. So I'll introduce myself in 1 second, but let's go ahead and begin. So yeah, we're gonna be covering the Get Good with Git workshop. It's gonna be an introduction to branching, merging, rebasing, and resolving conflicts. If you haven't already, please head to this link I'm about to drop in chat. Right there. And get signed up for points for Global Hack Week. Yeah, and I guess the name title card is kind of coming in the way of my face, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. That is a-okay. Awesome. So yeah, so for those who have not seen me before at a Global Hack Week, you'll know that, or I guess I'll be introducing myself. I'm Ryan Lalu. I'm a coach at Major League Hacking. You'll see me at a lot of East Coast events as well as Texas events, and sometimes on the West Coast. I am the third Ryan at MLH, so you've probably heard of my two other twins. I have Ryan Lay and Ryan Swift. So I'm one of the three, and I love lettuce. So you'll see me with the lettuce emoji pretty much everywhere. But yeah, I see a lettuce emoji in chat. Love to see it. I see Mutashin saying hello. Nice to see you. Yeah, let's go ahead and begin. So can I get a quick survey from chat here? Who here knows what Git is? Any GitHub fans? Anyone that's an aficionado with Git? And while I wait on those, oh, I see that. Polina says it's different from GitHub, right? Yes, they're different but very similar. GitHub is like an online platform where you can host your repositories and interact with Git. And Git is a version control system. We'll actually be covering the difference in this presentation. I see 404 saying, nah, never heard of Git. Yeah, 100%, bro, 100%. Never heard of Git. 404 definitely knows what Git is. Pashik says, of course, LOL. Rokozent says to share code. Yes. Greenoshi's saying lol to 404. Sandrini saying Git is great because I like looking at old versions of my code. That is 100% true. It is nice getting that history. And then Prantor saying I used it up to some extent. That is really, really cool. Glad to hear that there's a lot of people here who already knows what Git is. I guess for those that don't know, Git's anniversary, 20th anniversary, was like a month or two ago. So it's been over 20 years old now, which is pretty cool. Yeah, Git is a version control system created for Linux. Yeah, it was created by Linus, which is awesome. Yeah, so during this workshop, we're going to be covering both Git and GitHub. So a few notes before we get started. First of all, thank you for attending. Glad to see everyone here. And second, we're going to be introducing GitHub, working to get access for the GitHub Student Developer Pack, learning more about version control systems like Git. We're going to explore how to use Git, and then we're going to do an interactive walkthrough tutorial using Git and GitHub if we have time towards the end. So let's go ahead and begin. So let's go ahead and explore Git and GitHub. So Git and GitHub, again, are very different. They are also very similar. GitHub is a cloud platform for code collaboration, while Git is a version control system. Git will track changes to your code and can be used with various tools locally on your computer. GitHub uses Git as a version control system, but also provides hosting and sharing tools. And it can be accessed anywhere online. Think of it like the Google Drive, but for code. And then think of Git as like the Google Docs history feature, but for code. So very similar, very different. GitHub actually uses Git, so it's kind of like what's it called? I guess it's part of it. So yeah, but in the end, Git is the version control system, and we'll talk about that in a second. So I see a few comments in chat. Mutashin said that it is used to undo AI code when vibe coding, 100%. It is a great way to go back on the vibe coding, in addition to Control C. Then we have Vivek saying Git is very useful when dealing with code efficiently when we are on our local machine, 100%. It is really nice to get the history of it. And then Petro said, can I get my university greeting letter to get student developer pack? You might be able to. That might be something you have to email the GitHub education team. But we'll cover that in a second. So yeah, saying all of that, there's a lot that we're going to be covering in this workshop, and way more than I can cover in this alone. So if you want really, really good resources, check out mlh.link/gettrained if you want to learn more about GitHub, and mlh.link/git if you want to view GitHub Education's official cheat sheet. And these are incredible resources provided by the GitHub team, so please use them while you can. They are great resources. And I see 404 being a G and helping me link them in chat. So yeah, get trained and Git. Next is why should we use GitHub? What are the benefits to using GitHub over Git locally or on other platforms? So just real quickly, talking about GitHub here, GitHub is amazing. If you haven't used it before, use it. If you write code locally on your computer and you don't have it stored somewhere on the cloud or in a remote repository, use GitHub. It is an amazing tool. You can see by this wall of features that there is so much you can do with GitHub, and they all interact using Git. So if you get the chance to, I recommend using it. For transparency here, I've been using GitHub legit, I think, since 2013, since I was like a teenager. It is an amazing tool, and it's almost been like 10 years since I've been using it. So highly recommend it if you can. It is an amazing tool. Next is the GitHub Student Developer Pack. So if you are a student right now, get it. Get this. It is great. I've had this, I think, since like 2016. It has been with me since like middle school. And it is the reason why I feel like I was able to be a much better programmer. Just being honest here. Get the GitHub Student Developer Pack. It is an amazing tool. You get access to a plethora of professional tools that you wouldn't be able to for free. You have access to GitHub Copilot for free. And as a student, you get access to the pro version, which means you can use the new Sonnet models. You can use the new OpenAI models. You get so much more access with the Student Developer Pack. After that is you get GitHub experiences. So they have a lot of training, certifications you can go through. They have a lot of tutorials, workshops, stuff like that. They have a great repertoire of resources for you to use. You also have GitHub code spaces. So if you want to work in a cloud container, so let's say your computer isn't the strongest, this is for you. And you also get to connect with a bunch of campus experts. So you can find the closest campus expert to you and talk to them. Learn, network. It's a great resource for you to use. So sorry if I am, I guess, pushing this really hard. This genuinely meant so much for me as a student, and it helped me so much. All right, and let's go on to learning more about Git. So before we talk about Git, we have to talk about the underlying aspect of it. So that's going to be version control systems. Version control systems enable multiple people to work simultaneously on a single project. So if you remember the the other chatters or hackers talking about how it is a way for you to view histories or for you to work with other people, then they're right. This is how you're able to work with multiple people without having to work off of a single computer. So this is the overall diagram, but let's dissect it piece by piece. So in Git, everyone gets their own working copy or snapshot and repository, which has snapshots. So think of this as your working directory and your local repository. As you continuously make changes, you add your revisions to the staging area. So you use the command git add. Now, after committing, others have no access to the code you've changed until you have pushed your changes to the remote repository. Think of the remote repository as GitHub, for example. So when you try to fetch changes, you have to first fetch them from your local repository, fix any conflicts if there are any, and then merge them to your working directory. So you can see here, we have to fetch them using git fetch, then we have to merge them back, or what we can do is we can use the git pull command, which does both of them at the exact same time. So by design, these intermediary areas allow us to work out any problems before affecting our working directory. Think of it as you want the single source of truth being your remote repository to be stable. Your working directory is a little unstable, but the idea is that you're able to keep both of them stable by using the staging area and this local repository. It's kind of interesting and wacky to think about how the working directory, staging area, and local repository are all on your computer and the remote is somewhere else. But after some time, it will get a little more understandable, especially if you use any GUI tools. So let's go ahead and go through a walkthrough. Before we do that, give me 1 second. I have to send or take a quick call, but I will give everyone the chance to install all of these commands and go through the installation guide here. So I will be back, and everyone has about 2 minutes. So yeah, and when you're done, feel free to chat done, and I will shout you out. Yep, thank you all. All right, I see 4 duns in chat. We have 404, we have Mohammed, we have Vivek, we have Abdullah, and we have Sandrini. Awesome. That is 5 or 6 duns in chat. Awesome. Thank you all. So I see another 2, Byte Boss, and we have Kill Me ASAP. We also have how do I pronounce it? Mutation, maybe. Rocozent, and the that 30123, and then Prantor. Awesome. So everyone here pretty much should have Git installed. If you don't, feel free to take a picture of the slide or also use the sign-in link that we sent earlier in chat. That way you can get the slides emailed to you after this presentation. So yeah, let's go ahead and start working. So let's go ahead and start authenticating GitHub with Git, or GitHub from Git. So for kind of a reference here, you have to somehow verify that the Git that you're using in your command line is the same as what you're using in GitHub, if that makes sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to authenticate with GitHub, but from Git. So to do it, what you can do is you can run the following in your terminal. You can run git clone, then https://github.com/mlh/intro to git.git. Once you run that, it is going to then clone the repository, or I guess the demo repository we're going to work on, to your local machine. After that, it's going to create a copy of it, again, in your local machine. And this is how you can check if your GitHub is authenticated. So if this works, it's authenticate it. It's good to go. If not, then we'll have to work on a few things. But yeah, if it works, you can delete it afterwards. It's just to test. So if cloning the repository was unsuccessful, you will need to authenticate with GitHub. There's a few ways to do it, but the way that we're going to show is we're going to show it with the GitHub command line tool. So if you're on Windows, you can install the command line tool by using winget install. If you're on macOS, you can use it using Homebrew. If you don't have Homebrew installed, highly recommend it. Amazing tool. You'll use it pretty much everywhere, or use it for anything related to installing things on your computer. And then after that, run the ghauth login command. So if you have GitHub CLI installed, feel free to say done in chat, and I'll shout you out. I see some people saying they already have it. If not, it should take about 2 minutes, not too bad. While everyone is authenticating, I'm gonna change some music real quick. All right, done and done and done and done. So you'll represent that 30, Vivek, and Mohammed. Oh, this is fancy music. Abdullah, and they've cloned the repo. Awesome. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and move on in lieu of time. So again, if you were not able to install it or clone the repository, then you'll want to install the GitHub command line and authenticate using ghauth login. So let's go to the next step. 404 is saying, okay, tangent, but can I take this moment to cry about how horrible GitHub authentication is on Linux? I recently switched to Fedora and it took me 2 days to debug that because of a bunch of Linux issues. Oh no, I didn't realize there were issues with the GitHub command line. I haven't used Fedora too much right now. I don't have it on me right now, but I'm sorry about that. That's interesting. Oh, Git CLI, GitHub CLI is good. Okay, yeah. That makes a little sense. But that's interesting considering that it should feel very native. That's interesting. Well, yeah, sorry for that pain. But yeah, let's go ahead and make a directory and repository. So what we're gonna do is you can run mkdir or make dir, and then the name of your repo. So for here, we're gonna name it my first repo. From here, we're gonna navigate to the directory using the cd or change directory command. And then after that, we are going to initialize the directory with git by using git init. Yeah. After that, we are then going to create a file in this repository. So to verify, you can use the cat command. So you can do cat file name, for example, to view the contents file. And for those who don't know, cat stands for concatenate, or sorry, for catenate. And that's how you're able to view an entire file. You also have readme.md, which are text file documents that provide information about a file repository. You'll see this used a lot on GitHub, and .md files are markdown files, which is a lightweight markup language for creating formatted text using a plain text editor. TLDR is, think of it as a simple way to format text. So saying all of this, you can use these two tools to create files and then read them, format them, edit them. I see a question that 30, how to get the slides after the stream and what was step 2 of these slides summary? Yes, so I'm gonna drop the link one more time in chat, but if you're able to navigate to this link right here, after the workshop, it's gonna send you a link with all the slides. Yeah, so again, we're gonna create a file in our repository. In VS Code, you can run, or you can type in the command Control-N or Command-N on Mac to add some text to a file and save it. Or if you want to do it on Windows with the command line because you're extra cool, or I guess you can use it anywhere. If you want to run it on the command line because you're extra cool, you can run echo and then in quotes my first repository and then pipe that into a readme.md file. Again, if you want to confirm that it's there, you can run the cat command with the file name that you've just created, or you can open up locally as well. All right. And once everyone has that done, we can move on to the next step. So let's go ahead and add some files and make a commit. So you're going to want to add some files to your staging area. So just to recap here, staging area is the second stage right here. So from your working directory, we want to git add to our staging area. So in VS Code, you can use the navigate to source control tab and stage changes with the plus symbol. So you can see this plus symbol right here where it says stage changes. Or on command line, if you're extra fancy, you can do, or you can run git add and then the file name, or star, or dot. Those will all work. After you do that, if you want to then commit it, which is how you bring it to the next step, you can add a commit message by clicking the commit button in VS Code, or if you're on command line, you can run git commit -m and then the message you want to leave with that commit name. So over here, we're naming it initial commit. Yeah, and once you do that, everything should then be in the staging area, or I guess, sorry, in the local repository. So again, we did the git add to move it to staging, and we did git commit to move it from staging to local. Saying all of that, you should now have some changes that are then staged and now in your local. I see in chat, Phasic said, hint, partial changes profile can be added with git add -i. It shows an end curses menu with options to guide you through per div hunk adding. Yes, there are a lot of cool things you can do with Git for fine graining. A lot to learn. You can again use the tools that we have dropped in chat, where you can go to mlh.link/git or git trained to view more commands like git add -i. But git add -i is a really nice command to use. All right. And after that, I'm going to change the music one more time. Actually, let's do the 50 Cent song. Okay. Awesome. So from there, let's go ahead and now connect to GitHub. So you can navigate back to github.com. You can then click the new button on the left sidebar, and then you can set up the repository name, add an optional description, and then click create repository. During this workshop, I'm going to recommend that you keep the repository public. That way others can access it. However, if you have the GitHub Student Developer Pack, you are able to make it private. But again, for this workshop, keep it public. Whenever you, when creating this repository, be sure to not select any of the following. Do not add the .gitignore, do not add a license, do not add a README. Keep it blank for now. Vivek says, Vim is better to make changes in files when I work with Git. Is it okay to continue with that, or should I use VS Code for changes and additions? I would say use what you're most comfortable with. It sounds like you're comfortable with Vim, so I'd recommend using Vim for this. In the end, Git is a tool, and you can use this tool in a bunch of platforms. So whatever you're most comfortable with, I'd recommend that. I see 44 saying put on some Coldplay. The copyright strike will absolutely be worth it. As much as I would love to, I would love to, but I'm not sure I can. But if I could, I would. And yeah. So going back to this is essentially creating a repository on github.com. We're keeping it very open, very public. That way we're able to connect with each other in chat and maybe try working on each other's projects and seeing if we can get a Git conflict to happen, which we'll cover in a second. So again, we're creating a repository. We're keeping it very blank. That way we're able to link them together without any conflicts. So yeah, if you have this step set up, say I'm ready in chat. All right, I'm going to assume everybody is ready and good to go. So the next step is connecting this new GitHub repository to our local. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to copy the URL from GitHub. So you can see here, you're able to click the copy button next to the URL. Make sure it's set to HTTPS mode. You can also use SSH mode if you'd like, but for this example, we're using HTTPS. And then add the remote repository using the command in your command line, git remote add origin, and then paste that link. So I see something, is this the start? I missed the opening and the start of the session. Is there any way to sync up? Yeah, so we've already started this workshop, but feel free to sign into the workshop using this link. And once the workshop ends, a link to all the slides will be set to you. Yeah, so again, we're gonna want to copy this remote URL and then just add it to our local, so in command line or in VS Code. In the console, type in git remote add origin and then the URL. All right, and let's go ahead and continue. So the next step is to first ensure your branch is on main. So for reference, main and master are the exact same. They're both used interchangeably. If you have master, keep it master. If you have main, keep it main. So if you're on VS Code, on the bottom left corner, you can click on the main icon and select origin/main. And yeah, again, note, main is interchangeable with master. Just use whatever you have. You will have one of them. Or if you're in the command line, do git branch -M main, if you have it named main. For the purpose of this workshop, I'm going to call it main, but no, when I say main, it could also mean master. It's just whatever is there for you. So in VS Code, you can click on main, and you're able to select origin/main. Here is pictured as origin/master. And after that, we're going to push our changes to GitHub, which is our remote. For VS Code, you can do that using the you can click on the sync changes options here, where it has the up arrow saying that we have one commit that we're pushing to remote. Or you can run the command git push -u, which stands for set origin upstream. It's just an easy way to, to make it all simple. And then origin and main. Origin's going to be our remote, and then main. So if you were getting an error here, you might have accidentally missed the authenticating your Git with GitHub section. If you want to go back after this workshop, you can go back to step 1B to diagnose that. Awesome. And now that we have set up everything and we are good to go, let's start working as a team. Let's start to experience some merge conflicts as a team. But before we can do that, we got to talk about how to branch, because it is extremely important that you know how to branch before you actually start using Git, because it's kind of the entire philosophy of Git is being able to have different versions of the same source tree. So the first thing in understanding how branching works is understanding that branch is a foundational concept that you'll have to understand. If you aren't paying attention during this workshop, please pay attention for this part. It is fundamental that you know how it works. The main version of your project is housed in the main branch. You will also see it called master. So in this example, I have a code snippet right here that makes a pyramid, or a block of code. It does make a pyramid. Yeah, it makes a pyramid. From here, as you make changes to your project, changes should be committed to a feature branch. You can see my feature branch here is named custom pyramid. You can see that what I've done here is I've changed the type of character being printed from a star to a hashtag. But in the script, I am changing it inside of a new branch, which I used using the git branch command. From there, when I want to bring these new changes back into main, I'm going to have to go through what we call a code review. That's where we're able to talk to another developer and have them, have another set of eyes look over our code. So here, our code review, they're telling us to rename symbol to C for character. I guess also just the side say, when your feature is ready to be merged with main, you may open up a PR, which is a pull request. A PR doesn't need to be perfect. It's meant to be a starting point that will be further refined and polished through code reviews with project team members. From there, when changes in the PR are approved, the feature branch is then merged onto the main branch again. So you can see after the code review, we make those changes, and now it is in main. Yeah, so saying all of that, I'm gonna just pop this comment from 404. Branch, I forced pull all or push all my changes on main. Honestly, if you are a solo developer, sure, it works for you. But once you start working on a team, it gets a little bit more complicated. But at a hackathon, it's a totally fair thing to do. 100% fair. Honestly, if you enjoy merge conflicts, this is the funniest way to expedite that. So yeah, let's go ahead and continue. So now that you understand branching, let's go ahead and resume. So let's work on, okay, so this is gonna be kind of complicated. We're gonna try to work on some collaboration through the stream. Where we're gonna have people link together and try to select one repository, and we're gonna experience merge conflicts through that. So whoever here is following along and is going through this exercise in this workshop, feel free to drop just the username and repo part of it. So, for example, if for me, I'd be, let's say, Ryan slash get example. This won't work if you try it, but type that in chat and let's see if we can get some people to connect on some projects together and form groups of 2. And then from there, we'll see if we're able to try to experience some Git conflicts and merge conflicts in the wild. So Vivek is saying, so we can say that a branch is something like a virtual environment for that particular piece of code. So it doesn't ruin the main code. Kinda, yeah. I guess in a way, yeah. So it's like a containerized piece of your code, if that's what you're going for, 100%. The 30 saying, trying to follow along, but it's so fast. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. We can, I'll try to slow it down just a little bit. If you would like me to go back to a certain part, just let me know in chat and I can hop back. Yeah, if no one's up here because I'm going a little too fast, then there is no worries. If it's going a little too fast, we have a very limited amount of time to go through the workshop, but there's no worries about that. In the end, we can actually just, maybe this can be a mental exercise. We all think about it together and think about how this will happen in the wild. So let's go ahead and do that. So if we were to work in teams at this point, we would select one repository to use, and the one that we decided to use, we're going to have that individual share the remote repository URL with the other person. We would then navigate to that repository, the settings and access, section in GitHub, and we're going to add their credentials or their URL, their username as a collaborator. Now, the partner, we're going to clone that repository. So they're going to take that URL provided by the partner, and then they're going to clone it to the repository. So I see Sandrini and 404 has 2 repositories to test out with. So if you'd like to use one of theirs, feel free to just drop your GitHub name in chat and at the individual that you're going to be using. So let's say I want to use Sandrini's. I would just do at Sandrini, and I type in my username like that in chat. That way they can add you as a collaborator on GitHub. So Sandrini and 404, you're going to take on this step number 3, where if somebody adds their name, you're going to go to this URL and you're going to add them as a collaborator. And then if you're providing your username to either Sandrini or 404 here, then you're going to want to basically take this URL, go to the home page, and find the link that we found earlier with it's over here. Find this link right here for quick setup. Just copy that and you should be good to go after you git clone and paste that URL. If we don't have any takers, that's a-okay. We can continue on with the mental exercise. So moving on to this next point here, we're going to select one partner to make changes to a file and have them commit it and push it. So for partner one, let's say the person that is providing the repository, some commands that they can add is, let's say we echo partner one's changes to README. We then add this changes in the README file using the git add dot command. And then we use git commit -m and push it with the message partner one update. After that, we can then git push. So what we're doing here is the first partner is essentially overriding what README says and adding their own changes. Sorry, not overriding. They're adding their changes onto README. Partner two is going to do the same thing, but instead of saying partner one's changes, they're going to type in partner two's changes. So before anybody commits here, if anybody pushes here, if both sides commit this, and one side pushes it, they'll receive an error, and that's called a merge conflict. So I guess to talk about merge conflicts, before we go into what happens there, let's talk about what a merge conflict is. So a merge conflict is a conflict. It happens whenever you have two different versions of code that have some kind of intersected change that is different. So normally version control systems will automatically be able to merge non-conflicting changes, but a conflict will occur when at least one other user makes a change that is different from your change on the same lines of a file. So I guess as a quick tutorial or overview of what these conflicts are is, let's view an example with two branches, a main branch and a change fruit branch. Let's start with a list of Jay's 3 favorite fruits. We can see here is that Jay continues to work on a file and make changes in his working directory, but while Jay works, his friend Lisa wants to make an update to the list with her fruit suggestions. However, Lisa's branch from the main branch before she committed his branch. However, Lisa branches from the main branch before Jay committed and pushed his changes. So because that she pulled this before Jay has his new up-to-date changes, she's going to then update the file, and it's going to override when she tries to merge it back in. So you can see on over here, 1, 2, 3, we have watermelon, apple, banana. But on Lisa's, we have pineapple, orange, banana. So we're planning on getting a merge conflict on lines, or I guess number 1 and number 2, because which one do we choose? Do we choose Lisa's changes or do we choose Jay's changes? And that's where the main topic of merge conflicts come into place. So when Lisa finishes her changes and opens a PR, and after reviewing her code, Jay merges her PR to main, they're going to notice a merge conflict. So on these lines, we're going to get merge conflicts. I guess on lines 3, we would also get a merge conflict here. We have to decide which one we want. But let's say that we keep Lisa's changes on 2, and we keep Jay's changes on 3. But these first 2 are going to have a conflict. So again, because we've changed those lines, they are going to contain a merge conflict. Oh, yes, and this highlights something interesting. So because Jay originally did not change, Jay did not change line or number 2, which is apple, at all. Orange is then going to replace apple because nothing changed. There was no change there. Only watermelon was changed. So that means that, and also the name. So Jay's fruit list to Lisa's fruit list. That's why these 2 lines will have a conflict, but line 3 or number 2 does not. Yes, exactly. Yeah, the 30 got it right. Yeah. There wouldn't be a conflict at all. It would take Lisa's change because nothing changed. There was no contested conflict. Yeah. So that's kind of how it's going here. Again, 1 and 2 will have a conflict. Line 3 or number 2 is going to take from Lisa's because there's nothing changed between whenever she started and ended. And line 4 or number 3, banana, is going to stay the same because Lisa didn't change it, nor did Jay. So here's an example of what a merge conflict will look like inside of VS Code. You'll see that it's going to have this head where it's going to display current change. It's going to have this equal sign separator, and it's going to have these right-facing arrows with the incoming change and the branch name. You can see it's from changed fruit. So we see that Lisa's fruit list is going to have this as the change, her name, and also the number one. And on head, we're going to have the change of Jay's fruit list and watermelon. So resolving merge conflicts, let's learn how to identify and debug annoying merge conflicts using this information that we've learned. So it's going to be kind of complicated here since it's going to be a mental type of exercise. So imagine that you have these two partners now, and they both try to pull changes. So when you have two people who have these conflicts and they both try to pull changes, you're going to realize that when you try to push it, it's going to give you a conflict. So we can see here as an optional divergent branching reconciliation. If you get an error about that, you can fix that by using git conflict pull.rebase and false if you get that error. But if you wait one more time. So if you open the README file, which is the file with conflicts, and you follow your IDE's prompts, you can resolve the conflict using that. So you can resolve it in your IDE by opening up. Sorry, I'm a little everywhere right now. It's kind of complicated as a mental exercise, but trying to go through it here. I'll first answer some questions though. D30 saying watermelon beats pineapple any day. By the way, okay, I used to have the same opinions. However, my mind has changed recently, and I'm a reformed man. I love pineapple. Watermelon is still really good though. I think a good watermelon beats out a good pineapple on a good day though. So watermelon can beat out pineapple, but on an average day, pineapple is top. It is a great fruit. And 404 has a problem with that. Sandrini says, so does merge conflicts happen when you try to push to the remote repository? There's different code from what the local repository has before you made changes. Yes, exactly. That is the exact way to put it there. Yes. So if you make changes and somebody else makes changes, and they have two different changes on the same line, that will result in a merge conflict. That 30 saying pineapple doesn't make top 3. Okay, actually that's fair. There's so many good fruits out there. 404 says, I love pineapple as long as it's not on pizza. Okay, 404, I got beef with you on that one, bro. Pineapple on pizza is top tier. It is amazing. And Sandrini agrees here. And now we have a brawl in chat. The 30 says, insane take. 404 saying, no way. Pineapple teaches your tongue to be stronger. That is true. Quackers and Cheese saying that pineapple pizza, you're making me hungry. I agree. Pineapple on pizza is amazing. 404 is clearly upset. 404 calling out Quackers and Cheese. Green Yoshi saying Pharaoh send you his love via pineapple pizza. There's a lot of love for pineapple and pizza in chat, from what I can tell. So going back to the workshop here, if you were to open up the README, which is the file that has conflicts, you can follow your IDE's prompts or manually resolve the conflicts by keeping the changes that you want and removing the ones that you don't. So you can remove the markers using the left, the separator, or the right arrows. You can remove those and keep the ones that you want if you want to do it manually, or you can use your IDE's resolution process, which is what we saw over here. So you can just click on accept current change, accept incoming change, accept both, or compare. But if you want to do it manually, feel free to. Everyone does a combination of them, or at least one of them. And then after that, you can then push. So this step 4 is the conflict resolution process. It's where you're selecting which one you want to, which changes you want to take from where. You can stage your changes to push it and to complete the merge by typing in git add whatever files you want to add. So in this case, it's README. You can then git commit with the message. For here, we're typing resolved conflict. If you're using VS Code, it will auto create a message for you, and then git push. Basic is saying hint. Both GUI and CLI tools can be configured for use with git merge tool. GUI and GUI inside of your git config. Example for my dot files. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of configuring you can do. You can choose which one you like to do, which one you don't like to do. And yeah. So once you make the changes and once you resolve the conflict and make the changes, you can then push it, and then the other user, the partner, can then pull it in, and now you have resolved the conflicts. So if we were doing this in a group setting, we would then talk to our partner and discuss why the Git conflict occurred, what can you do to prevent Git conflicts during a hackathon, and are there any strategies to prevent conflicts? That would be what we would do, but in this case, let's just reflect together. So, yes, so the reason, again, why this occurred, and something I want to bring up is Sandrini's notes here, is that merge conflicts happen when you try to push to the remote repository, but it has different code than what the local repository had before you made changes. That is the best, that's a really good way to put it. I love that way. And if this is what causes merge conflicts, the way that we can then alleviate and remove chances for merge conflicts is to then work on different branches. If you work on different branches, you're able to make changes without having to constantly have conflicting changes when someone else pushes their code. You're able to work on all of that, and then whenever you're ready to bring that branch back into main or back as developer, if you want to leave it at, that's when you can work on the changes all at once. Also, coordinating with your teammate works really, really well, or having a file structure where what you change is very atomic. So think of it like in the React sense, where your components are component files. It's not all in one page like you'd see in traditional vanilla traditional vanilla web development, where you'd have one massive file with a bunch of different things. That's bound to have a merge conflict. So yeah, that's basically what I would recommend. Branch, it's an amazing way to reduce merge conflicts, but eventually it's inevitable. You'll have to deal with them, and the way to deal with it is to go through each conflicted change and see what the resolver couldn't resolve automatically and pick the ones you want. And from there, push. But yeah, that's pretty much the entire workshop. Thank you for attending. If you enjoyed the workshop, feel free to leave some feedback and let us know what we can improve. I think we have now held this workshop a few times now, so I hope everyone enjoys it. It's a classic. Sorry for going a little too fast, but in an hour block, it's kind of difficult. But if you sign up again using this link in chat, you are able to get a link to the slideshows after the workshop is ended. So saying all of that, thank you all for joining me. Thank you for all of the pineapple on pizza lovers in chat. And before I go, I just want to shout out the next stream that's coming up after this. We have an intro to neural networks with TensorFlow with Charbel. So if you want to learn more about neural networks with TensorFlow or TF2, I'm dropping a link to his chat. It's going to be right after this in 8 minutes. But yeah, thank you all. Hope you enjoyed the refresher, and happy hacking. Have a great Global Hack Week. And I'll see you after this Global Hack Week at season launch next month. All right. Bye, y'all.